Wisconsin's 94th Assembly District, incumbent Democrat Steve Doyle beat Republican Tracy Hoppel, and Representative Doyle is from Alaska. He has served 2 terms in the state assembly, and he is here in our studio this morning. Because what else do you want to do after a late night than get up bright and early, huh?
I could have just stayed up.
I could have just stayed up. First off, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
How are you feeling now, morning after, about being reelected?
Well, you know, you have to shift immediately from campaign mode into governing. I mean, our job is to go to Madison and work together on behalf of the people that we represent and the people of the state of Wisconsin. I'm ready to do that. In fact, I'm heading to Madison later this morning.
One of the things that you have talked about, not only in just your run for re-election, but you talk about a lot in serving, is trying to get rid of the partisanship that we see so much of. Going forward, is that realistic? Is there really a way to do that?
You know, I always say that western Wisconsin is different than the rest of the state. If you look at the rest of the state, there's a lot of partisan nastiness and just a lot of disagreement on almost everything. In western Wisconsin, we're different. I mean, we work together. That comes out of my background in the county board here, in, you know, specifically in La Crosse County. But you see that throughout western Wisconsin. Chris Dano to the north of here, Lee Narrison to the south of here. People that have, you know, a D or an R after their name, but they work with both sides of the aisle. And that's really the mold that I fit into. And so it's not hard for me to go to Madison, set aside the partisanship and try to work together. It's going to be interesting, you know, every time you have an election, there's hard feelings. And so a lot of my colleagues probably aren't in that mold yet, but hopefully that's where we'll get.
We were talking a little bit in the break before we came back. As you were watching election results come in last night, not just for your own race, but as you were seeing other results come in for local and statewide and national candidates coming in, as a Democrat, tough to watch?
Oh, sure, but you know, that's politics. You have cycles. There are years that Democrats do great and years that they don't do great. And that just goes with the territory. I mean, if I wanted to have a job with, you know, certainty, I'd become an undertaker or something.
Right.
In politics, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know. Going forward, let's talk a little bit about what you would like to see in the next term, in your term, what you'd like to focus on as far as issues and things that you would like to address.
Well, certainly we have to deal with the budget. That's the elephant in the room that we have to deal with starting in January. Up until about midsummer when the budget passes. But there's a couple, I guess, components of the budget that I think are really important. Number one, education, of course, K through 12, and then post-secondary education. And then a topic that's gotten a lot of attention recently is transportation. You know, we don't have enough money to fund all of our transportation needs. We just passed the constitutional amendment saying you can't raid the transportation fund. Big deal because there's no money in it to raid right now anyway,
right.
So we have to get a handle on that. And difficult decisions are going to need to be made in that regard. I look forward to seeing what the governor proposes because I know it's been on both parties' agenda to deal with that.
Speaking of transportation, were you surprised at all to see that 80% of people voted in favor of leaving that money for transportation?
Actually, I'm surprised that 20% of the people said that it was okay
Really?
to take after that. So I really wasn't. There wasn't a strong mobilizing group against the referendum, and most people thought, well, gee, you know, if I'm paying gas tax, I'm paying licensing fees and so forth, you know, for roads, I want to have good roads to drive on, so keep your hands off of it.
Lastly, the question I want to say is for those people who voted against you, who voted for the other party and may be disappointed that you are here today, what would you like to say to them to bring them on board Steve Doyle's next term?
I'm going to say what I have said all along is I represent all of the people of the 94th District, not just the Democrats, not just a certain community. I represent all of the people. My door's always open. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I want to hear your ideas on how to make our state a better state, and I want to take those ideas to Madison. I mean, that's my job. That was what I was elected to do, and I am excited to do that. I'm excited to represent what I consider the best part of the state of Wisconsin.
All right. Steve Doyle, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you. Hopefully you can get a little bit of sleep now today.
Good idea.
All right.